Space travel used to be something only governments could afford, with NASA and other space agencies spending billions on every mission. Rockets were built for one-time use, and launching anything into space required massive budgets. That's where Elon Musk comes in. With SpaceX, he set out to change how space travel works, cutting costs, reusing rockets, and pushing toward a future where going to space isn't just for governments and the ultra-rich. Let's dive into it. Before SpaceX, launching a rocket was an expensive, single-use operation. Every mission required an entirely new rocket, and once it completed its job, it was discarded. This made spaceflight financially unsustainable, with costs reaching hundreds of millions of dollars per launch. Space agencies like NASA, Roscosmos, and the European Space Agency had no choice but to work within these expensive systems, as no viable alternative existed. The Space Shuttle program, which ran from 1981 to 2011, was supposed to solve this problem by introducing a partially reusable spacecraft. However, the reality was far from cost-efficient. Each shuttle launch cost about $450 million, and when adjusted for inflation, the full program ended up costing NASA over $200 billion. The shuttle's solid rocket boosters could be recovered and refurbished, but the process was expensive and time-consuming. After every mission, significant repairs and safety inspections were required, adding to the cost. Other space agencies faced similar financial barriers. Russia's Soyuz rocket system, first launched in the 1960s, became the workhorse of human spaceflight, but it remained a single-use vehicle. While Soyuz was relatively cheaper than NASA's systems, each launch still cost tens of millions of dollars. The European Ariane rockets and China's Long March series followed the same pattern. Build a rocket, use it once, then throw it away. Beyond the cost, bureaucracy also played a role in limiting progress. Governments controlled space travel, and the industry was built around large aerospace contractors that depended on public funding. Companies like Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and Northrop Grumman secured long-term contracts, but their focus wasn't on affordability. These companies worked under cost-plus contracts, meaning they were paid for their expenses plus a guaranteed profit. This system gave little incentive to reduce costs, since higher spending meant higher profits. Without competition, innovation moved slowly. NASA and other agencies had limited budgets and had to prioritize safety over cost-cutting measures. Private companies had little involvement in space travel, and launching anything into orbit remained exclusive to well-funded government programs. Elon Musk saw an opportunity to change this. If a private company could develop reusable rockets and streamline the process, costs could be dramatically reduced. The space industry, which had been running on the same expensive model for decades, was in desperate need of a shift. Musk believed that space travel could become more like air travel, where rockets could be flown, landed, and relaunched multiple times without being discarded. This vision laid the foundation for SpaceX, but at the time, the idea of reusing rockets was seen as unrealistic. The traditional model had been in place for so long that most experts assumed it was the only way spaceflight could work. Musk and his team at SpaceX set out to prove otherwise. Elon Musk founded SpaceX, or Space Exploration Technologies Corporation, in 2002, with the goal of making rockets reusable and cutting the cost of space travel. At the time, the idea of a private company competing with NASA, Roscosmos, or the European Space Agency seemed far-fetched. Spaceflight was seen as something only government agencies could handle. Private aerospace companies existed, but they primarily worked as contractors for government-funded projects rather than running their own missions. Musk wanted to change that. He believed that spaceflight could be made significantly cheaper by developing reusable rockets instead of discarding them after every launch. If a rocket could land safely and be flown again, like an airplane, space travel could become commercially viable. But first, he needed to prove that a private company could successfully build and launch its own rocket. The early struggles. Falcon 1's rocky start. SpaceX's first rocket, Falcon 1, was a small single-engine launch vehicle designed to carry light payloads into orbit. The company faced setbacks from the start. The first 3 Falcon 1 launches, between 2006 and 2008, all ended in failure due to various technical issues, from fuel leaks to engine failures. By 2008, SpaceX was running out of money. Musk had already invested much of his fortune from PayPal's sale to eBay, and the company was at risk of shutting down. The 4th attempt was a do-or-die moment. On September 28, 2008, Falcon 1 successfully reached orbit, making SpaceX the first private company to send a liquid-fueled rocket into space. This achievement changed everything. It proved that a private company, without government backing, could develop and launch an orbital-class rocket. Shortly after, NASA awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract to deliver cargo to the International Space Station, or ISS, giving the company the funding it needed to survive and grow. The game changer, Falcon 9 and reusability. Falcon 1 was an important step, but it wasn't powerful enough for major space missions. SpaceX shifted focus to developing Falcon 9, a larger rocket designed to launch satellites, cargo, and eventually humans. The key innovation was its reusable first-stage booster, the part of the rocket that provides the initial thrust and usually falls into the ocean after launch. Before SpaceX, rocket boosters were single-use, making each mission expensive. The idea of landing a booster and flying it again was considered impractical because of the extreme forces and high speeds involved. But Musk and his team believed that with precise engineering and control systems, it could be done. After years of testing, SpaceX made history on December 21, 2015, when it successfully landed a Falcon 9 first-stage booster at Cape Canaveral, Florida. The feat was repeated with an ocean landing on a drone ship in April 2016, proving that boosters could be reused even when launched over water. This breakthrough dramatically reduced launch costs. A brand new Falcon 9 mission costs around $62 million, but when reusing a booster, the cost drops even further. Musk has stated that the goal is to bring the price per launch down to as little as $30 million, making space access more affordable than ever. Since then, SpaceX has continued refining the process. As of 2024, some Falcon 9 boosters have been reused up to 17 times, demonstrating that rockets can be flown multiple times with minimal refurbishment. By proving that rockets could be reusable, SpaceX fundamentally changed how the space industry operates. Other companies, including Blue Origin, Rocket Lab, and even NASA, are now following SpaceX's lead by developing reusable systems. The spaceflight model that had remained unchanged for decades was finally evolving. With Falcon 9's success, Musk and SpaceX began working on their next major goal, building a fully reusable rocket capable of taking humans beyond Earth, and eventually to Mars. That mission would lead to the development of Starship, the most ambitious rocket SpaceX has ever built. Falcon 9 proved that reusable rockets could dramatically reduce the cost of space travel. But Elon Musk wasn't satisfied. His long-term vision wasn't just about making launches cheaper, it was about making human spaceflight to Mars a reality. That required an entirely new rocket system. Enter Starship, SpaceX's most ambitious project yet. Starship is designed to be a fully reusable launch system, not just the first stage like Falcon 9, but the entire rocket. It consists of 2 main parts: the Super Heavy booster, which provides the thrust needed to escape Earth's gravity, and Starship, the upper stage that carries cargo, satellites, or humans into space. Both stages are built for controlled landings and rapid reuse, meaning instead of building a new rocket for every mission, SpaceX could potentially reuse the same vehicle multiple times in a single day. Musk has described the vision as similar to how commercial airlines operate, where a plane flies several routes a day instead of being discarded after one trip. Here's the $10 million launch goal. The real game changer is the cost. Traditional heavy-lift rockets, like NASA's Space Launch System or SLS or past programs like Saturn V, cost billions per launch. Even Falcon 9, with its reusable booster, has a base price of $62 million. Musk has repeatedly stated that Starship's launch cost could drop to as low as $10 million per flight. This is an unprecedented number in the space industry. If achieved, it would mean that launching satellites, cargo, and even humans would cost less than 1% of what traditional systems require. SpaceX aims to achieve this price through full reusability, in-house manufacturing, and mass production. The more a rocket can be reused, the less money is spent building new ones. Starship is designed for 100+ flights per vehicle, bringing costs down with each launch. Instead of relying on expensive aerospace contractors, SpaceX designs and builds its own engines, components, and software. Rather than hand-building a few rockets per year like NASA and other space agencies do, SpaceX is developing a production line for Starship, making them in large numbers to lower costs. If SpaceX can make Starship as reusable as Musk envisions, the cost per seat could become affordable for more than just astronauts and billionaires. While space tourism remains expensive now, Starship could eventually make it realistic for regular people to book a trip to orbit or even beyond. Musk has always been open about his ultimate goal, making humanity a multi-planetary species. Starship is designed to be the vehicle that will take humans to Mars, carrying supplies, habitats, and eventually settlers. The rocket is built to be refueled in orbit, allowing it to travel the vast distance between Earth and Mars efficiently. The first uncrewed Starship test flights to Mars are expected within the next decade, with human missions following soon after. While this timeline depends on technological progress, one thing is clear. Starship is being built not just for Earth orbit, but for deep space exploration. SpaceX has already conducted multiple high-altitude test flights of Starship, with some ending in fiery explosions and others proving that the vehicle can successfully land. In April 2023, Starship's first full-stack test flight with the Super Heavy booster launched, though it ended in an explosive failure. These tests are part of SpaceX's fast-paced development process: fail fast, learn fast, and improve quickly. If SpaceX succeeds in making Starship work as planned, it won't just be the future of the company. It could reshape how space travel works entirely. NASA, private industries, and even space agencies worldwide are watching closely because a fully reusable, low-cost rocket would change space exploration forever. With Starship in development, the next step is securing commercial and government missions to make it financially viable. SpaceX has already won NASA contracts for using Starship in future moon missions under the Artemis program, proving that this rocket isn't just a bold idea. It's already being built for real missions. Without a steady source of revenue, even the most cost-efficient rockets wouldn't be enough to keep a company like SpaceX running. That's why SpaceX has focused on securing government contracts and building commercial ventures that bring in consistent funding. By combining public and private funding sources, SpaceX has created a self-sustaining business model that keeps its ambitious space projects moving forward. SpaceX's relationship with NASA has been a key factor in its success. In 2008, after Falcon 1's first successful launch, NASA awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion Commercial Resupply Services or CRS contract to deliver cargo to the International Space Station. This was a game changer. At the time, the Space Shuttle program was coming to an end, and NASA needed a reliable way to send supplies to the ISS. SpaceX stepped in to fill that role with its Dragon spacecraft and Falcon 9 rocket. The success of those resupply missions led to an even bigger milestone. In 2014, SpaceX received a $2.6 billion contract under NASA's Commercial Crew Program to develop Crew Dragon, a spacecraft designed to carry astronauts. This was historic because for nearly a decade after the shuttle program ended in 2011, NASA had to rely on Russia's Soyuz rockets to send American astronauts to space. In 2020, Crew Dragon's Demo 2 mission successfully launched 2 astronauts to the ISS, marking the first crewed spaceflight from American soil since the shuttle's retirement. Beyond ISS missions, SpaceX secured a major role in NASA's Artemis program, which aims to return humans to the moon. In 2021, NASA selected Starship as the lunar lander for the Artemis 3 mission, the first planned crewed moon landing since Apollo 17 in 1972. The contract, worth $2.9 billion, ensures that SpaceX will play a critical role in future deep space missions. These government contracts provide billions in funding, but more importantly, they give SpaceX a steady stream of missions that help refine its technology. Every resupply mission, crewed launch, and lunar lander test contributes to the company's long-term goal of making space travel more routine and affordable. While NASA contracts are essential, government funding alone isn't enough to sustain a company with ambitions as large as SpaceX. That's where Starlink, SpaceX's satellite internet service, comes in. Starlink is a massive project designed to provide high-speed internet access anywhere in the world, using a constellation of thousands of small satellites in low Earth orbit. Traditional internet infrastructure relies on fiber optic cables, which are expensive and difficult to install in remote areas. Starlink bypasses that problem by beaming internet service directly from space. SpaceX began launching Starlink satellites in 2019, and as of 2024, there are over 5,000 Starlink satellites in orbit. The service is already available in many parts of the world, and SpaceX continues to expand coverage. Starlink's revenue potential is massive. Musk has estimated that once fully deployed, the service could generate up to $30 billion per year. Beyond being a business opportunity, Starlink helps fund SpaceX's long-term spaceflight ambitions. Unlike traditional satellite operators that have to pay third-party rocket companies for launches, SpaceX owns both the satellites and the rockets. This means that every Starlink launch helps keep SpaceX's rocket production and development running. The more successful Starlink becomes, the more money SpaceX can pour into projects like Starship, Mars missions, and deep space exploration. By securing both government contracts and commercial revenue streams, SpaceX has created a financial model that keeps it from relying solely on taxpayer money. NASA benefits from SpaceX's innovation, while SpaceX benefits from steady government missions. Meanwhile, Starlink provides a growing source of income that allows the company to fund research, development, and ambitious projects that don't have immediate financial returns. This model sets SpaceX apart from traditional aerospace companies, which often rely almost entirely on government contracts. Instead of waiting for funding to be approved by Congress or government agencies, SpaceX generates its own revenue through commercial ventures, allowing it to move faster and take bigger risks. With both Starlink and NASA contracts supporting SpaceX's expansion, the company isn't just making space travel cheaper, it's proving that space exploration can be a profitable, self-sustaining industry. This financial foundation is what makes Musk's vision of Mars, colonies, lunar bases, and routine space travel something that could actually become reality. So in conclusion, SpaceX has already changed the way rockets are built, launched, and reused, but this is just the beginning. With Starship in development, NASA contracts fueling innovation, and Starlink providing steady funding, the company is laying the groundwork for a future where space travel is no longer limited to governments and billionaires. Elon Musk's vision of making life multi-planetary might still seem distant, but the progress so far proves that lowering the cost of spaceflight isn't just possible, it's already happening. The idea of affordable space travel is no longer science fiction. The question is no longer if it will happen, but how soon. Thanks for watching! If you enjoyed this deep dive into how SpaceX is making space travel affordable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more space and tech content. What do you think about Elon Musk's vision for the future? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to see more videos like this, check out our other uploads. We've got plenty of exciting content coming your way. Until next time, see you.